I'm like really big on this whole like mentor thing and like how much someone can get out of someone if they actually, if you like, obviously you had your eyes wide open and you had like the goal of making the posters and like doing that. So you had an objective, you had a goal, and then you had someone push you towards that. And like,
oh, my life would have been totally different if he didn't like do that for me and like, you know, make the call to be like, hey, like, you know, it was like an old industry friend who owned the photo school. It's a private institution. It's not like government funded. So I didn't have a HECS debt. I have like vet fee help or whatever to like study there. So because it's like a private uni, which meant it was a bit more expensive and stuff as well. But yeah, just like for him to do that, like I can't imagine like my life would have ended up totally different, you know? But yeah, no, it was cool. I think he just saw the passion. And I think when I see that passion in other people, and I know you do it too, it's like when you see that passion in somebody else, you're like, oh man, I want to help this person to get closer to what they want to achieve. And I think so many people have the power to do that. And like so many people have taken the time out of their life, you know, not just their life to like give that to me, like David Murphy with like, you know, shooting landscapes, and then Kevin with like showing me how to kind of like, oh, you know, you can shoot commercially. And I was going to wineries and doing stuff, and I shot a wedding with him or whatever as well. And then going to Melbourne, and then having my other mentor and one of my best mates, Jesse Hisco, sort of like take me under his wing and basically teach me how to like properly run a business and shoot weddings. And then that took me all over the world. So
because everyone wins in that situation. Hey, like that's the thing. Like I don't get why people don't try and help other people, because it like, it not only helps them, you feel good from doing it, but it reinforces the things in your brain anyway. So like whenever I help like a young kid, man, it's like I'm just reinforcing things I already need to know, and then it makes me question things, because it's like, you know, how often, like a lot of times you don't look at yourself on how something can be done better, but we always pick apart other people. But if you're actually mentoring something and you're picking apart something on them, it's like you've kind of got to keep yourself in check. And you're like, dude, the amount of times like I've told like a kid, hey, you should do this, and then think about it to myself and be like, I should do that more too. And like that could be with like stretching or like eating good or like all that, but like we critique other people, but then when you like, it's good if you critique, even if it's only in your own head, but then you take note from that and go, oh shit, maybe I need to totally. I need to sort that out as well. And I guess for the people that have helped you with your photography and all that, they're reinforcing how to shoot things. And I think when you see someone succeed and you can see a direct link from you helping them, like that's so rewarding. Like that's like feel good in a place that's like better than good kind of it's like it hits this it's a nerve, and it's like
I think that's why I really enjoyed like teaching, because like prior to COVID I was like going to the States like sort of a couple of times a year, and I started teaching at this creative camp called Field Trip. But like the first year I just like got to go over and, you know, basically exchange a ticket for sort of like, you know, my flight and a ticket in exchange for sort of like shooting some stuff at the camp. And then the next year they're like, hey, you're pretty sweet, like you should come and teach. I was like, me teach? I felt like biggest imposter. But like that whole thing, I think of just, that's where I started to realize how important like teaching and showing these people how to like transition from photography into video like was so powerful. And just watching someone learn something, the look that people get on their face when they like have that realization or something clicking, and you're like, oh, shit, this is awesome, you know? But the reiteration of things that you know as well, because I'd always find myself each year being like, dude, am I like, you know, why am I doing that? Why do I do that? You know?
You don't actually question it, you just kind of do it. And then when you actually break it down and have to rebuild it for someone, you're like, oh. And then once it makes sense, you're like, okay, I get it now. But it's funny how it's like you always need to teach someone that for you to teach yourself properly, because you've got to break it down that certain way.
Totally.
And like you said there, like when you actually like help someone with someone, you see like that oh shit moment, and then you see them use that in like an actual like set, like if they go shoot something and you see how like their work progresses as well, you're like, hey, I help with that. I do that. No, it's a good feeling, man.